Social engineering to turn you into dumbed-down, mindless fools who can't even understand basic language, basic semantic symbols. It's real simple. They had training manuals going back at least 500 years ago, translated out of Spanish and Portuguese from the different sugar cane plantations in the Caribbean on how to dumb down the African slaves they brought in, how to keep them from learning how to read, write, how to bring the women in to the houses and train them as the supervisors of the men. Feminism, and when you actually read it, I mean, it's all cold-blooded. And the women believe they're the minders of the men, how to, I mean, literally, in some of these facilities, the black men weren't even really allowed to talk. The women would rule over them and be, you would have blacks tending blacks. This is just a more modern system of what Caesar did. He talks about leveraging one group of the Austrians as they went into Gaul against the next group of Gauls, against the next group of Gauls, doing that systematically, all the forms of manipulation. And this is 2,060-something years old. This is the type of material. There's nothing worse for me than to know I'm telling you the truth, to know I've got their manuals, to know it's all public. But again, maybe 5% of the country actually reads more than one book a year. It used to be half the country were avid readers or more, and everybody read newspapers or tried, 95%. They have destroyed us. And I just want you to see Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. I mean, it's them openly setting up the euro, openly setting up the North American Union. They're going to totally implode the economy. They're going to take everything you've got, open police state, open martial law, open dictatorship of this system, all candy-coated. And people need to see Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. You need to give it to everybody you know for Christmas. You don't want to wait. If you can only afford one copy, buy one copy. Make copies of the DVD on a DVD burner. If you can afford it, then buy 10, 15, 20 copies. We've got them discounted at like half off when you buy them in bulk. Give it to people now. Give them loose change final cut. Infowars.com, or call toll-free to get the books, videos. They can answer questions, tell you about discounts. 888-253-3139. I mean, I have to keep myself every day from getting depressed or getting enraged as I read more books, more documents, more official Department of Education documents. I mean, it's just unbelievable criminals. They're just actually writing about how they've dumbed us down and how we're slaves and laughing at us that we'll never figure it out. We can. People are waking up. Infowars.com or 888-253-3139. We have a deal just for the month of December, 5 months free at prisonplanet.tv. Go check that out. 5 months free at prisonplanet.tv with thousands of pieces of media up there, an armory of Infowar. Or write to me, Alex Jones, at 3001 South Lamar, Suite 100, Austin, Texas, 78704. Go to John Taylor Gatto's website. He wrote a book. You can buy a hard copy if you want, but it's up there for free to download. And go there, read it, give it to people. I know it's hard for you to read. I know TV's on and you're not trained to do it. Once you start reading, it's addictive. And then don't believe Gatto. Take a quote he's got, Google it. You'll find university official sites. You'll find the books written by these people. Don't believe that. Order the book. Physically get books where all the icons of our age are calling us slaves and scum and how they've dumbed us down and how they're going to have their way with us and how they're going to sterilize us and how they're going to... Okay? Go to his website. It's free. Over a decade of his research. Free. Go to Google Video, watch Endgame for free, but it's better to have the high-quality DVD and give it to folks. All right, I'm going to shut up. What really needs to be done is for everybody just to get really aggressive and educate everybody and go to whatistheendgame.com, whatistheendgame.com. We now have more than two-thirds of the film bibliographed with every time code, every document, everything we say in the film, all documented. Volunteers doing that. We had to check their work. It's all accurate. We commend them. We thank them. That's there. You want it. It's two-thirds done. The rest will be done in a week or two, I'm told, at whatistheendgame.com. I mean, help us spread that around. I mean, there's nothing worse than knowing they're doing this and Knowing the public's now awake, we're being calm, but the public doesn't know all the specifics. Okay, I'm literally going to turn my mic off. Get into the 20th century, 21st century, specifically what they've done, what the plan is, the phases. You've got the floor.
Okay, I think it'll be useful for your listeners to frame this project, this argument that we're entering. And you're quite right. Simply by spreading this around, simply by doing that, you will grind this thing to a halt. It depends upon your cooperation to be your own jailer and your own saboteur. And that information, oddly enough, is at least 500 years ago. In John Calvin's Institutes, he said the damned comprise 95% of the population. And there are too many of them for us to cow. What we have to do is train them to be their own jailers. Indeed, Calvin has the first clear idea of how an institutional school would work. And then there's a line all the way down through Charles Darwin. The book you want to read is not Origin of Species, but Descent of Man. And you'll see clearly that 95% of the population are biologically so degraded, there's nothing can be done for them. So that now these people who are operating this project have a moral foundation to stand on. They're only helping the progress of, nature. Anyway, what happens, and it happens in stages, and I'm going to have to leapfrog some of these stages in the short time we have together to leave behind stuff that's traceable. The great change, and the great change happens in stages, but the great change that all the people listening are living through happens right after the Second World War. For the very first time, all the nations of the world that we compete with have had their industrial capacity broken. And so the wealth that flows into the United States is so intoxicating and leaks down even into the lowest levels of labor that you can seduce the population who are now running around saying, wow, we're rich or relatively rich, into accepting compulsion schooling as the key to distributing opportunity. Now, oddly enough, there's no connection between your standardized test score and your success in life. None has ever been demonstrated, although billions of dollars are spent trying to show that there's such a correlation. It's simply not true, and none of our national leaders have anything but undistinguished school careers. That includes Republicans, Democrats, and outsiders. They're for the most part they're C students, but Al Gore, for example, flunked out of his first college, and our current vice president flunked out of college twice. George Bush, who's roundly considered what I do believe him to be is a very dull mind, actually had a better college average than the fellow he ran against, the snooty guy, Kerry from Boston. So we're talking about a fantasy that's been laid down in such a complex fashion and so deeply that it's very hard to penetrate. And now here comes the principle that I hope your readers will remember. Of all the people involved in this, almost none of them understand what they're involved in. And that's why Alex's advice to spread this around, it even works on some of the villains who don't know what they're involved in. But nevertheless, the Carnegie, the Rockefeller, the Astor, the Vanderbilt, the Harriman, the brain trust that gave us this had something more than simply a desire to be wealthy or powerful. They already were as wealthy as it was possible to be. Nobody has enough imagination.
They're all eugenicists to a man, and I've got to go back to something you said 5 minutes ago. I've been biting my tongue.